what happens is when someone feels you opening into their belief and not counteracting their belief by going, you could be right. They then, when you go, but imagine, what if it was this? Then they're able to go, oh, maybe you're right. So now what happens is two parties are now open to another reality because neither of those realities are true in an expanded version, right? It's true in this reality, but in a collective expanded version, neither of those are true. Because we're trying to step into another version of reality, right? The expandedness, the next dimension, is another version of reality, and it doesn't look the same as this reality, right? It looks different. It's a much more expanded version of reality. So therefore, we can't take the truth from this reality into the next reality because some of them won't be.
Welcome to Galactic Guidance, the show that channels the wisdom of beings from higher realms. Join us as we tap into the cosmic consciousness and receive messages of clear guidance to help us navigate our spiritual evolution on planet Earth. So sit back, relax, and let's connect into the higher frequency. Do you have a belief that something is absolutely true and that nobody can shift you from that belief, that you will never let that belief go? You know that it's the truth. Well, the more you hold on to a belief, the more restricted you are in terms of expanding your consciousness. And so we have the most incredible conversation coming up. It was a major mic drop moment for me, where if we deny a certain set of beliefs, we're actually denying infinite number of beliefs. And those infinite number of beliefs might be what we need to step into the most expanded version of ourselves. So check this episode out. It is incredible. Hello, Marcus and Eleni here, and we're excited for another week of Galactic Guidance.
Yes.
So what we
Love
do
Galactic Guidance.
what we do in every episode is that Marcus channels a higher dimensional being called Ameed, and Marcus puts himself into a trance state. He's an unconscious channel, and Ameed comes through. Ameed is a higher dimensional being from the Lyra star system. And we just have a conversation with Ameed. I ask Ameed questions and
See what happens.
the most amazing guidance comes through. Amazing guidance.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's very good. All right,
Yeah.
all set.
So whenever you're ready, Marcus, you can
Okay.
go into your stage. And if you happen to be listening for the first time, if you want to hear Marcus's story about how this whole thing started, he's been channeling this high dimensional being going on to 3 decades now. Have a look at the first episode of Galactic Guidance where he tells his story. And every single episode, we have a channeled message from a being outside of Earth.
There's much of the joyness that we are once again in this sacred moment in the time-space continuum to be speaking through and to you in this space. There's much a shifting in the dimensional realities of your existence in this moment, much parallel universe experiences that are being shared, being expressed in and of the throughness of you. And there's much distress for some, but is much of the excitement, for it is the expansion of the consciousness, the expansion of your dimensional awareness in this time, space, continuum reality. And we are much blessed to be in this of the spaceness, to be sharing this of the information with you.
Hello, Ameed. I am so excited to speak to you as always. I get very excited when I'm in your presence, and I'm very, very grateful that you also choose to be in mine. And so I just want to ask you a question about exactly what you just shared, which is that parallel universes are being expressed in this moment, and for some that brings about stress, and for others that brings about excitement. Can you tell me how the parallel universes are being expressed first of all, and then if you can explain, well, how does this translate into stress for some and excitement for others, and then finally if you can just tell us, well, how are we supposed to navigate through these times? So I would love to know the answer to all those questions.
This is much of the bigness of the question, and we will attempt to make it as of the smallness as of the possibility, the simplest of the possibility. For what you must be understanding is that this universe is in a constant evolutionary expansive process, much in the consciousness aspect of the reality. One of the things that you are must be of the learningness. One of the aspects you must be of the learningness is the power of the conscious reality of this universal timescape. You must be understanding that consciousness is the fundamental of the building blocks of the universal construct, but the consciousness is not what you are thinking of the consciousness. Much of your reality is thinking of the consciousness as a thought space, as a mindscape of existence, but this is not what of the consciousness in a universal aspect or universal reality is. Consciousness is much more a living of the breathingness of the universal dimensional reality of existence. And as part of this consciousness reality, the universe is wanting to be of the expansive nature, constantly evolving, constantly expanding out into multidimensional realms of the existence, but also out into the quantum fieldness, continually expanding. There's a consciousness that is assisting in this expansiveness journey, this expanded reality. And as you are being in the expanded reality, you are moving through the dimensions of the universe teeming with of the life. There is many of the layers, many of expansive layers of dimensional reality. And one of the aspects of being here in this of the theme park is in the assistance of expanding the dimensional realities from the lower of the dimensions, the more shrunken version of the dimensions, into a more expanded dimensional state. As this is of the happening, the universe continues to be of the breadth of the outness and therefore of the expansionness. And so as you are thinking of this, when you are being of the smallness, this is not assisting in of the expansiveness. You must be of the breathing outness, be of the expansive nature of this, of the reality. This is part of your purpose of being in this space. You have been chosen. You have been of the choosingness to be here in this time-space continuum, to assist in of the breathing out of the universe and the expanded nature of the reality. One of the constructs that is of the happening is that as you are moving and expanding out of one of the dimensions into another dimension, what you will be finding is that the dimensional experience is of the contractive nature, is of the compression nature. When you are in the transition time frame, which is what is happening here on the Earth time, you will be finding that the parallel existences, the parallel universe existences are in the compression phase. They need to be into the progression, the compression phase, so that they can be then of the expansive phase. Before any of the expansion, there is always a contraction. Then what we are meaning by this is that the space between the parallel existences, of which there are many that you are moving in and of the throughness, is that to expand into the next dimension of reality, the parallel universe experiences begin to compress on themselves. Therefore, what the experience is for you is that you be able the experiencing of multiple parallel existences, multiple parallel time frames, multiple existence of the reality scape. And you are existing in both of these experiences in the one of the moments. In of the factness, you are experiencing multiple dimensions of this reality, but you are most aware of the parallel universes that are most of the closeness to you. There is therefore at this timescape two main of the parallel universes that are playing out. There is the old of the contracted reality of universal experience, and there is a more expanded version of universal of the experience. Some would be of the consideration that this is of the three-dimensional reality and of the five-dimensional reality. As we have mentioned, much of in the time we have been of the talking, that we do not see things as of the linear time space. We don't see things of the hierarchical time space. There is not a three-dimensional reality, and then of the five-dimensional, and the six, and of the seven, and of the 12 dimensions of reality. This is much of an earth-bound of the experience. We are seeing much more of an expansive nature of this experience, where we are not looking at levels of the expansion, just greater versions of the expansion. But when you are in this state, when you are in this unfoldingness of expanded transformation and transition, which is what your experience is in this moment, it is what you chose to journey here to be of the assistance of this expansion, you will be seeing that one universe of experience is now being compressed into another universe of experience so that you can transition through into the expanded version of this universal experience. What is then of the happening is that there are two parallel existences running at the same time-space continuum. There is a contracted version of the reality and an expanded version of the reality. And some of you have already been in the transition into the expanded version of the reality, and some have not transitioned in, have not crossed into that next expanded version of the reality. This is much like a crossing of the overness. When you are in the experience of transitioning from one of your life of the experiences into a next life of experiences, you are being of the crossing over. The move from one of the dimensional aspects into the next dimensional aspect is also like of the crossing over. You just do this in the same time continuum rather than transitioning out of this timeline continuum and into another timeline continuum. You remain in this of the timeline continuum, but this is very much like of the what you have of the cycle of the death and of the birthness. Some of you have been already birthed into the expanded version of this timeline continuum, and some of you have not yet been of the birthness. So therefore you are running two parallel of the timelines simultaneously. This is causing conflict. This is causing of the stressness for you, because there are many who are being of the belief in the one timeline continuum, many of the belief in the other timeline continuum, and neither one can be of the existence in both of the timeline continuums. Those of you who have been in the expanded version of the timeline continuum can see into the constricted, what you would call the constricted version of the timeline reality. But those in the restricted version of the timeline reality cannot see into the expanded version of the timeline reality. This is causing much of the stressness. This is causing much of the concern, because it is like two people are speaking of the separate language. It's like two people are from the foreign of the countries and cannot be of the understanding of each other. This is what is happening, and this of the riftness is going to get what you might call wider and of the widerness. Therefore, if you are in of the constricted reality, or if you are in the middle of the transition of the reality, then you are going to be experiencing of the stressness. Then you are going to be experiencing of the worriness and of the anxietyness and of the nervousness, because you are caught in a space that is disappearing, a time-space continuum that is shrinking, much of the fastness. So what you understand is, as you expand into the next dimension of reality, the dimension of reality that you have been in begins to be of the disappearing. You can continue to see into that dimension, but you just cannot exist in that of that dimension. Therefore, as you might be of the imagining, if you are standing on an island and the water of the levels is the being of the rising, the island becomes more smaller and a much more of the smallerness. As the island becomes of the smallerness, you get more of the anxious and of the worry and of the fear space, because eventually you'll be noticing that the island will be of the disappearing. And if you haven't been of the transition into the much more of the bigger land, much more of the bigger island, then you will be much of the stuck of the underwaterness. And this can feel very much of the confusing for of the brain, of the mindscape. This is what is happening in this moment. So what we would be of the suggestion, what would be of the invitation, is that you begin to expand your mindscape. You begin to entertain much of the possibilities. You begin to entertain the infinite possibility of the reality. You begin to what you might be calling of the stretching of your mindscape. Then it is much of the stretching of your heartscape, much stretching of the energyscape. The goal here is of the expansive nature. So if you don't wish to be experiencing this, what you call of the stressness, then you must be being of the comfortable, of the expandedness. You must be of the comfortable of understanding and of believing things that you yesterday did not of the believe, that yesterday did not think of the truthness. It is much like this of the communication we are having. There are some that who would be of the listening, thinking, oh, this cannot be of the realness. This can be not of the truthness. And there are others that are in being of the embracing of this conversation. This is what would be of the assistance to help you with the transition. You might be asking of yourself, is this true? Is this of the realness? And at the end of the day, you might be of the saying, does it matter if it is of the realness or if it is not? What you must be asking, is this of the helpfulness? Is this of the helping to have us be stepping into much of the expansiveness, Ameed? Because if this is of the helpingness, then it does not matter what you be of the considering in the mindscape, being of the trapped in the constricted reality of existence. In this way, you can be beginning to be of the expansiveness of the conscious state, remembering that consciousness is not of a mindscape, process, but rather it is of a full body of the process. Consciousness is a full body experience, not a mind experience. So what you are much of the invitation to step into is to have a full body consciousness awareness, to allow that full body consciousness awareness to be of the expansive nature. Maybe there is one of your cells that has a consciousness about the reality of this experience. And you could be of the meditation and go find where of this cell is and listen to what this cell has to be of the saying to you. Begin to feel into this cell and understand the connection of the truthness. This is one of the aspects that is much coming to be of the greeting you, is this concept that you call of the truthness. As you expand into more and more of the dimensional realities, you will be seeing more and more of the truthfulness of the construct of the universal experience. And you must be of the preparedness, because what you are of the understanding in this moment is very much of the difference of the understanding in the dimensional realms, in the more expanded dimensional realms. For everything that you have been told in this dimensional experience is not of the truthness. There is a much more expanded version of the truthness. And we could be much speaking here for many of the days, Miss Eleni, if we were to unpack of this of the truthness. But you must understand that your expansion will open up to new versions of the truthness, of what you would consider new versions of the truthness. And you have to be much of the preparedness to be of the receptivity of this of the truthness. And you must be ready to let go of what you thought was once of the truthness, as now is not in this of the reality any longer. And so many who are in the constricted parallel experience that is playing out in this moment are very much holding on to the oldness of the truthness. Those that are willing to transition and then step into a more expanded version of the reality are making that of the journey. And you are looking back at the others who are in the constricted space, and you are much of the scratching of the headness and wondering what is of the going on. Cannot they see what I am seeing in this moment? And you must understand that they cannot be of the seeing what you are seeing, because you are in an expanded version of the reality. And from a constricted version of the reality, it's very much hardness to see the expanded version of it. Remember, you are on the island. And as you're on the island, you are just worried about the water that is coming up closer and closer. You cannot be of looking anywhere else because you are much of the worriedness. And therefore, you are holding on to whatever of the truthness that you have had, and therefore hoping that the water will not continue to be of the rising nature. But this is not the reality. The water is going to be of the rising. And therefore, the transition is much of the inevitableness. And you are either will be of the expansion and transitioning in this time space of the continuum, or you will make of the grander transition into another of the experience.
Thank you so much for all of that. Now, in order to make it easier for the person out there who's listening, can we drill down into a specific example? And I'm happy for you to use me as an example. In this moment, what practical things can I do to definitely step into the expanded reality rather than stay in the contracted reality? What practical day-to-day decisions and choices can I make to step into the expanded reality so that so that people can get examples of what this actually means?
There is a many of the examples that we could be of the giving you, but one that we wish to be of the sharing is that you must be in of the process of the expansion of what you are seeing and what you are of the experiencing. What you can then be doing is questioning what is it that I am experiencing, questioning what is it that I am in the believing of in this of the moment. So we would ask you, Miss Eleni, what is the one belief that you are holding in this moment that you think is much of the truthness? As you are walking about in, like you are saying, of the daily existence, what is one belief that you are experiencing in this moment?
What is one contracted belief? Is that
What
what
is
you're asking?
one of the beliefs? It matters not whether you think it is of the contracted or not of the contracted, but what is the one of the belief that you are holding in this moment?
I believe that I will impact a large audience and that I'm here to make a big impact in the awakening process. That is one belief.
This is much of the goodness of the belief. What we would be asking of you to do then is to be of the expansive nature of this of the belief. And in that, you must be seeing every aspect of this of the belief. Because if we were to ask you, is this of the truthness? One thing you would be saying to us is, this is of the truthness because I wish for this to be of the truthness. But is it actually of the ultimate truthness? Because what you are doing in this moment is you are confining, you are contracting the possibilities to within that of the beliefness. So if you are wanting to embrace the message that we are sharing, you would have to be of the breaking free from this of the beliefness. So to be able to do this in what you call of the practical nature, you must be thinking, okay, is this of the truthness? Is my belief of impacting many of the peoples absolutely in the truthness? And then you must be considering, okay, what if I was to let go of that of the truthness? What if that was not of the ultimate of the truthness? What would then be of the appearing if I was to let go of that of the truthness? And this is when many other opportunities, many other possibilities start to be of the appearing. One of those possibilities is this is not what is of your truthness, that you are not meant to be in this of the truthness. And you could be thinking something much of the difference. And in this aspect, that could also be of the truthness. One of the things we are wishing for you to do is to break free from this of the beliefs and be in a much more of the expanded nature of the possibilities of the reality. So as you sit here and think about that of the truthness, and then you were to let go of that truthness and start to imagine what other things could be of the realness. So one of the things that could be of the realness is the opposite of what you have just said. That could be of the truthness. That is not what you are here to be of the doing. that is not the possibility that you hear of the doing. The other opportunity is that you could be much bigger of the opportunity. You could be much of the bigger of the opportunity. You could be thinking of how much of the bigness of the opportunity could this be? What would be a different opportunity? And what you are starting to do when you do this is not to, what we see of the human of the species do many of the times is anchor into one of the possibilities. As you are in an expansive state, you need to be opening up to the infiniteness of the possibilities. And you need to not necessarily be holding on to one of those of the possibilities. You need to be breathing into the infinite nature of the possibilities. In this, you can start to be of the thinking, oh, what other of the expanded possibilities could be existing in this of the moment? And I'm not going to be in the choosing of any one of the particulars, any one of the possibilities. I'm just going to be in the expansiveness of the possibilities. Then what you can be of the doing is that you can be of the feeling into the energetic quality of these other possibilities. And what you are looking for is the next expanded version of the possibilities. And then this is the thread that you should be of the following. So you might be sitting here, Miss Eleni, and you might be thinking, okay, what is Ameed talking about? Expanded of the possibilities. And if we were to say, what is the nature of some of the other possibilities that could be of the truthness for your of the existence in this moment? What would you tap into? What would you be telling us?
Another possibility is not just about the impact on the earth, but the impact in the universe.
Mm,
And that's another possibility. It's not just about
mm,
my time here on earth. It's much bigger than that.
mm. This could be of the truthness. And what else? What other of the possibilities could there be in this of the existence?
Well, another possibility may be that I just get to enjoy my grandchildren when they appear.
Mm,
That might be another
mm.
possibility.
This is what we are now on the talking about, is now you are starting to be in the expansive nature of the reality. And you must be looking at all of the possibilities, just feeling into all of the possibilities and continuing to expand your time-space continuum reality by entertainment of these of the possibilities. So as you are being in the expansiveness, your first opportunity, your first of the invitation is to entertain the infiniteness nature of the possibilities. And as you start to be of the experiencing of this, as you sit in this space, Miss Eleni, and you start to list in your mindscape all of these possibilities, then what will be of the happening is you let go of the possibilities so that you can expand into a much greater version of the infinite of the possibilities. Then what you will start to see is you'll start to see of the threadness, because you'll start to connect with the next infinite possibilities that is in the transition phase, in the next expanded version of who you are. Then what ends up being of the happening is that you choose a thread in this version of you based on the next version of the expandedness of yourself, rather than choosing the thread in this expanded version of your selfness. You choose the thread in this version based on the next expanded version of your reality. Does this make of the senseness?
It does. It almost feels like this is a really good journal activity too, to sit
Mm,
there and just say, well, what else is possible? What else
mm.
is possible? What
Much,
else is
much
possible?
true. Yes, this is much true. And you must be considering every aspect of this before, because this is a circular nature of experience, a spherical nature of experience, not just a linear nature of experience. So as you are considering this, you must be considering what you would think of as not of the positiveness, of the negativeness, of the things that maybe you wish would not be of the reality and of the happening. Because the issue often is that when you are denying aspects of your reality, then you deny every aspect of your reality. So you must be in the considering that you could be of the enjoyment of, like you are mentioned, of the grandchildren. You could be of the enjoyment of speaking on of the stages. You could be in the enjoyment of many aspects, but you could also be of the opposite of this. You must be in the circular nature of this reality. You might be in the experience of not doing anything, of deciding just to be of the walking on the beachness, of not expressing anything, of not doing any of these aspects. You could be experiencing of the more of the contraction opportunities, more of the contraction realities that being of the existing. But you know you will not be of the choosing of this, because your soul of the journey is to be in an expansive state. So even if you are entertaining things that you are being of the considering of the negative, being of the considering of a shrinking state of reality, you will not be of the choosing this, because this is not the natural nature of reality. But you must be, to be thinking, to be experiencing the infinite of the possibility, to be experiencing the expansive nature of the reality. You must be experiencing and understanding every aspect of the reality. Then you can see the next expansive version of the soul aspect of who you are, and you can allow that version of yourself to direct this version of yourself to follow the thread of possibility needed to be in the expansiveness of the next dimensional version of who you are. This is part of the consciousness reality that we wish for you to be connecting into, is that you have this much of amazing of the ability to imagine the expansiveness of the reality. This is what has been given to you of the imagination, and this is much of the importance, to be able to connect into the infinite possibility of an expanded universe and a transition in dimensional realities is the imagine of the nation. This is what will help you to find of the rightness of the thread without of the constriction of the beliefness. Many of you are much of the caught in the beliefness, and you must be expanding past that. And you can be of the expanding past that with by thinking to yourselves that this could be of the possibility, but also this could be of the possibility, that could be of the possibility. And I'm not holding on to any of the beliefs of any of these other possibilities until I have understood, until I have expressed as many of the infinite possibilities I can, and then allowing myself to expand into the next version of this, the next version of the infinite possibilities. Then I can allow that dimensional reality to help and assist in the guidance of which thread that I choose to be of the following.
Wow. So that is the first time I've ever heard that we need to allow ourselves to entertain that a possibility is what we don't want. Because if we deny what we don't want, we deny everything, is what I heard you say. So that is the first time I've heard any guidance about allowing and being okay and accepting the possibilities we don't actually want.
Mm. This is a construct that might be of the confusing nature, but I'm speaking to you from the next dimension of reality, where you are of the master creator status, and you know you will not be creating a contracted version of the self, because that is not the evolutionary process of a universe teeming with of the lifeness. So even if you be of the entertaining of the constricted version of the self, this is not what will be of the happening. But what it will do is allow you to see more of the infinite of the possibility. Because when you deny one possibility, you deny many possibilities.
Mm, I
When you
get that.
restrict yourself to certain possibilities and you deny all other possibilities, then you lose the next dimension of reality. We see this happen many of the times, and this is one of the confusing things you must now be learning to express past. You are very much of the goodness of picking of something that you are believing in, and then holding on much of the tightness to that belief. And if anyone challenges that belief, that you come out and be of the fighting nature, that you come out and say they are not of the nicest people, they are wrong. Must be of the right, because my belief is the truth of the belief. My belief is the truest belief, but this is not the reality. You don't know that your belief is the truest of the belief. You don't know if someone else's belief is the truest of the belief. Therefore, you must be in the expanded nature that all beliefs are of the truest nature.
I love that.
But expand into beyond that. But be of the expanding beyond that. If we were to say to you, and we use of this example many times because it is of the easiness, if we were to say to you, there are two versions of the earth plane experience. There is one of the roundness of the earth, and there's one of the flatness of the earth. Miss Eleni, which one do you choose to believe in?
The round one.
Yes, this is what is happening. But what if that is not true? What if there is a flatness of the earth? What if that is the truth? What would happen if that was the truth?
Well, I'd have to be more open to other belief systems.
Ah, did you hear what you are just in the saying?
Yeah.
If I am to entertain another belief, I have to be more open to the truthness of the universe. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what is appearing, Miss Eleni, is a third version of the Earth space continuum. So if you are now to step into that, where the roundness of the Earth is not of the truthness, and the flatness of the Earth is not of the truthness, where does your mindscape take you?
Anywhere
Everywhere.
and everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere. This is what we are talking about. So when you are thinking of the infinite possibilities, you must be thinking of all of the possibilities, but not anchor into any of the possibilities
Mm,
until you've expanded into the next dimension of reality. And then you come back to this reality and allow the expanded version of you to guide you and help you to pick a thread of reality that you now choose to follow.
wow. Thank you so much,
Mm.
Ameed. That was brilliant. So whenever you want to bring Marcus back,
Mm. Must be in the letting go of all of this of the beliefness. Must be now in the state of letting go into the expanded nature of the truthness. Even, especially those of the things that you have much of the strongest belief in. Especially
mm,
those things that you have much of the strongest of belief in. And it is also true when you are thinking of the negative aspect. When you are thinking to the self, I am not a good of the person. I am doing of the badness. I am making all of the mistakes. You must be in the expanded nature to say, okay, that could be of the truthness, yes. But it must be also of the truthness that I am good at my things that I am being of the doing, that I am not of the forgetfulness, that I do of the remember, that I do of the honoring stuff. You must be in this of the remembering, because for one to exist, the other must exist. The universe wants to be in a stable state of existence. So for one aspect to exist, the other has to exist. And if you are not being of the entertaining of both aspects, then you are counteracting the stability of the universe in motion. Therefore, you cannot be seeing the next dimension of reality because you are caught in this unreality of experience, where you are being of the denying of certain realities that could be or could not be of the truthfulness. This is why this is much of the
wow.
importance. Much of the importance.
Wow. This has like been an epic kind of
Mm,
aha moment for me. And I'm sure for
mm,
anybody else listening too, there's some mic
yes,
drop moments in there. That was
much
amazing.
pleased.
Thank you so much.
Much of the join us that we're here to be of the sharing this, because we're here to be of the assistance for you to be expanding into much of the bigness of the version of the truth of who you are. You are much of the light of the universe. You are part of the family of the universe. You are much of the oneness with us. We are not of the separateness. You are not of the smallest of the earth of the beingness. You are much of a universal being. But you keep yourself of the trappedness through this process, through the denying of the aspects of reality. So we are here to be of the assistance to help you to breathe out into the next dimension of the reality. For you are heading into this space. This is what is of the unfolding. This is the inevitableness of your reality. And we wish for you to be in the transition, in the what you would call of the smoothest, of the nicest of the experience, not of the anguish of the experience, not of the pain of the experience, although this is also okay to be in that reality, to be of the experiencing of all that of the reality. But we wish for you to be in the expanded nature of the universe. This is what we are here to be of the helping. Much of the loveness. We are so much so excited and of the overjoyedness. We love this of the experience, and you must understand that through this of the expansion, you're much loved, much of the joyness.
Mm, thank you.
Oh, yes. Ah, hello there.
She was very passionate today
Oh, really?
and and had massive
Huh.
aha moment for me.
Oh, really? That's
So,
good. Yeah.
yes, big insight in terms of letting go of those beliefs that you are most convinced of. Letting
Mm,
go of those beliefs you are most
mm,
convinced of. When you know something for sure, like, and even if that for sure is about the expansiveness of the universe,
yeah.
even if that for sure is the infinite possibilities of the universe,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and letting that go. But what's interesting, Marcus, is that I was going to ask Ameed a question, but
Yeah.
she answered it anyway. Like,
Oh,
I was
really?
going to ask a personal question,
Okay.
but I she knows exactly what's going on in my world, because
Of course.
that's what she talked about anyway, which
Yep.
was, that's why I just went with whatever she was saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
she talked about how we've got two worlds,
Yes.
and it's very exciting when we're expanding into the new world,
Yes.
and but it's stressful if we're still hanging on to the old world,
Totally. Totally.
and sometimes we're just finding ourselves in both. And I had a situation on the
Yeah.
weekend at my sister's house, where somebody there drew me into a debate that I didn't want to be in. So I usually avoid these things now.
Yeah.
Like, if
Yeah.
I can see someone arguing about something that I've got an
Get
opinion on, I
out.
just like run away.
Yeah.
I run away. But she got me in like with
Oh.
a net, it felt like, and I felt
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
was stuck.
Right.
And it's interesting because it was about the book that I'm writing about, which is abundance.
Oh, yeah.
So how the conversation started was, um, we were talking about cleaning, and I said, "Oh no, I don't clean. I've got a cleaner." And she said, "Oh, you're Miss Privilege, are you?" And
Oh,
I said, "It's not privilege; it's a choice." And
totally.
that was
Totally.
it.
Oh, my
So
Lord.
she had the opinion it was privilege. I had the opinion it was a choice, and I didn't really want to have the discussion, but she was like, she cornered me, and she really
Mm,
wanted to talk about it. And I'm like,
mm.
there sort of, and I felt stuck. So it wasn't like I was triggered. I wasn't angry. I
No.
didn't raise my voice. I didn't
Yeah.
talk over
Yeah.
her, but I actually
Yes.
felt cornered and stuck. But I also didn't want to say something that wasn't my truth.
Yeah. Sure.
So
Fair enough.
I didn't want to give up my sovereignty. And so we were stuck there for ages. And what Amit said
Yeah.
in her discussion was, well, be more open to what the other people are saying. Like, I'm convinced that there's abundance for all, and I'm convinced that everybody has a choice. What Amit is saying is, let go of that as
Maybe.
well.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I mean, what she sort of said to me over the last little bit, especially as we're now trying to expand, is that it's almost like any belief at this point holds us back from expanding because all of our beliefs are trapped within a construct, right? So, so the belief that it's a choice to have a cleaner is sort of caught in that construct of the choice to have a cleaner. And for
Yeah.
her, she's caught in the construct of that's elitist or privileged or whatever word she used, when that's not true either.
So how would you have navigated that discussion?
So what Ameed has said to me, and what Ameed often says, is um, that when someone is caught in their belief, right, what we're here to do is help them to expand. So the
Mhm.
first thing to do is agree, but agree with, you might be right. That might be true. Not agree as in, oh, you are right, but hey, that could be right. I mean, it could be right. The Earth could be flat, or the Earth
That
could
could
be
be
round,
right.
which is the one she gives me all the time,
Okay.
right? And it's like, so if you're sitting there with a flat Earther, which is like what you were, this was your version of flat Earth, round Earth, right? You were round Earth, she was flat Earth. So the first thing to do then is go, you might be right. That could be the truth. That could be real.
Okay.
But
This
what
is what
if? What
I
if?
okay.
What if it wasn't? What if it was a choice? So throw the what if at them, not throw, sorry.
What
Share
if? What
what if. So, because what happens is when someone feels you opening into their belief and not counteracting their belief by going, you could be right. They then, when you go, but imagine, what if it was this? then they're able to go, oh, maybe you're right. So now what happens is two parties are now open to another reality because neither of those realities are true in an expanded version, right? It's true in this reality, but in a collective expanded version, neither of those are true.
Okay, I've got to practice that. And I know the universe is going to give me lots of examples to practice because I knew
Yeah,
exactly why I was cornered because she's
yeah,
talking about my topic. And
yeah,
so this is what my
totally,
book's about. It's
totally.
my book's effortless abundance. I'm going to get those questions and
You
what
are,
the
totally.
universe and those big beliefs coming at me, what the universe showed me was I'm not ready because I felt cornered. I felt
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like how do I get out of here?
But now you've got the answer to it, right? So now you are ready, right? Now you are ready. And again, this is the practice on a day-to-day basis is to continually challenge your own belief. So when you just have a passing comment, right? You might be driving down the street and you might say, that person looks weird, right? What they're wearing is weird. Now you've just anchored a belief around that thing they're wearing. But what if you didn't? What if you went, actually, that could be the next fashion. Like, that could be super cool. Like that could be freeing. That could be refreshing. All
Yeah.
of a sudden you expand into another version of the truth.
Marcus, one
You're
thing
not
that,
caught.
and you do this really well because I recall that when we were in partnership together, business partnership, I
Yeah,
used to say to you, so this is what we need to do, right? And the response you used to give back to me was always, well, maybe.
it's possible.
And that sort of would stun me and be like, oh, okay. So all you needed to say was maybe. And I'm like,
That's right.
okay, we don't necessarily need to take that path.
Yeah,
Like
see
it
what
didn't
it
even have
does,
to
it
be a
gets
big
us.
discussion.
That's right.
You
It
would
gets
just
you to
say
stop,
maybe.
to expand, right? Because again, we get so caught as humans on a thread, right? That is true. And then we collect evidence that that's true. Like we find evidence to draw in that that's the plan we
Mm.
should go on. That's the action we should take. That's the thing I believe in, right? But then it limits us. We just shrink into a third dimensional reality again. We just get limited.
I love that. I love
But
that.
if we expand out and go, that could be true, right? So that choice or that decision could be the right decision. So that means it could be true. But what if it wasn't? What
Ima-
else could be true?
Imagine if our leaders did that
Oh my God,
with debates. Well, that could be true.
that could be true. Yeah,
Can
you
you
could be
imagine?
right.
Can you
That version
imagine?
of the truth could be the truth. It could be real. But then again, it might not be. My version of the truth could be real, but then again, it might not be. So let's come from that place where everything's real and nothing, or everything's true and nothing's true all at the same time and see what appears. Because we're trying to step into another version of reality, right? The expandedness, the next dimension is another version of reality, and it doesn't look the same as this reality, right? It looks different. It's a much more expanded version of reality. So therefore, we can't take the truth from this reality into the next reality because some of them won't be.
Okay, but this is where I've got a question.
Yeah, good.
So, like, okay, I cannot entertain the idea that I will ever be on the streets and homeless. I can't.
Okay. So you just did.
Oh, by thinking about it.
Correct. You just did.
And
So what you've now done is you've sort of double jeopardied yourself in that
yeah,
I
and actually,
can't entertain the fact that I could live on the street. Well, actually, you just did. So
and
now
when
what do
I
you do?
said that,
Yeah,
when I said that sentence, I tell you what
yeah.
scene came in my head. The
What?
building was blown up, the electricity was blown up, the banks were blown up, and I'm on the
Hello,
street.
hello. Not because you didn't have money, not because you got onto drugs and you were down and out, or whatever belief we have about people being on the street, right? None of which is true necessarily. And so that's exactly right. So now you've expanded into another version of reality, right? That maybe the whole building collapses or it's there's a big water leak and you can't live in the house anymore. And I don't know, all of, your city is full of, so, so that's okay. You've now expanded into another version of reality and you've let go of truth, that belief a tiny bit so that you can now expand into another reality.
I got it. I got it.
And this is what's causing trouble. This is what causes pain. The harder, when you're in transition from one dimension to another, the harder you hold on to a belief, the more pain you will experience. Because that belief is breaking down. So what you end up doing by holding the belief, you're trying to contain yourself in the old dimension as the new dimension's coming, whether you like it or not, right? It's a bit like you're clawing onto the ground and someone's trying to drag you, and you're desperately trying. I don't want to be dragged. I don't want to go there, right? And it's like,
Yeah. That's
you're
like
going there.
that's NLP. Like the more
Okay,
inflexible you are, the more pain there is.
correct.
So,
It's a similar version of that, but now we're doing at a very deep beliefs about everything. You know, we're not doing it about one or two little things. We're now doing it about everything.
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 Absolutely everything.
Everything.
We've talked about
Everything.
beliefs before, but this is just really interesting. If you're listening out there, what beliefs do you hold the strongest? What do you
Yeah.
absolutely believe to be true?
Yeah.
And maybe it's
Yeah.
time to let it go, because that way you allow every type of possibility to come into your world.
Yeah. And the harder you hold a belief, the more painful it is to move through that belief, and more likely you're going to get into a fighting situation. Right? Because all of us, and the less universal human you are, right? Because anchoring into one very, very strong belief means that anyone who doesn't have that belief is wrong. They have to be wrong. They can't not be wrong when you're holding it that tight. Right? I used to think with the flat earth thing that the flat earth people were stupid. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Right? And if I ever bumped into a flat earther, I'm likely to get into an argument, right? Because I'm going to hold my round earth, they're going to hold their flat earth, and we're never going to see each other. We're never going to connect at a fundamental universal level. Whereas if I can go into a flat earth conference and go, hey, this could be true. I'm not necessarily convinced. I'm not necessarily saying one thing or the other. I'm just here. I'm just open to the experience. Then magic can happen. Then miracles can happen. Then everything can happen.
Yeah, and then people are more likely to be in your presence and
Totally.
actually feel, you know, your peace and your love and your
Correct.
compassion and your
Correct.
openness.
Correct. And what happens if they then get a piece of that? Well, then maybe they'll expand and go, well, maybe round earth is true. Now we're expanding into the next thing that will appear, which will be the next version of the truth, which will be bigger than flat earth, round earth. It'll be much more bigger and better than both of those experiences. That's what we open ourselves up to, is bigger and better, if we want to think about it that way. It's a very earthly thing, but it's a more connected, it's a more united, it's a more peaceful, it's a more harmonious, stable view of existence. That's what happens when you let go of that.
Love it.
Anyway, just a small
Awesome
topic today by the sounds of it. Tiny topic today.
And I just love that, you know, I didn't even have to, because that was the question that I had, but I didn't need to actually pose it, because I just allowed the conversation to go where it needed to go, and it went there anyway.
Of course it did. Of course it did. I love how that happened. So brilliant. Thank you for listening. Thank you for asking the question and being here, Eleni, and facilitating this. I really appreciate it. And I know Ameed does. And thanks to all the listeners who are listening.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate Ameed.
Yay.
That was really, really, really beautiful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Galactic Guidance. We hope that the messages that you receive from the higher realms have brought you clarity, insight, and comfort. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Remember to stay connected to your own inner guidance and trust the journey ahead.